you tell us what kind of projects the DDA supports?
Yes, so I talked about the DDA's TIF funds, so
Yes.
I'll talk, that's one stream of revenue that
Yes.
the DDA gets. The other
Oh,
stream
yes.
of revenue comes from
Yes,
the
thank
parking
you.
system. And the DDA actually keeps those two funding sources pretty distinct in terms of the kinds of projects they fund out of each of those pools of money. So maybe I'll talk first about the projects we fund out of the TIF capture,
Yes.
and then I can talk a little bit about the parking and,
Yes.
and where those resources go. So the TIF money is used basically for streetscape improvements, for grants in the downtown area. Right now we have an energy savings grant program that's benefiting downtown businesses by providing them with energy audits, and then some money to match their improvement into their buildings. We've done LED lighting in the downtown. The 5th and Division streetscape improvements are being funded out of the TIF. In the past, it hasn't happened currently in the last couple of years, but the DDA has provided money to specific developments to aid, for special purposes to aid in the financing of those projects. So maybe a grant to a project to do some particular pedestrian improvement related to that project, or to ensure that certain housing is provided in that project. The DDA's TIF also goes to affordable housing in the downtown, and those are pretty much the alley improvements. Those are pretty much the major projects.
Could I divert you for a second?
Yeah.
You said for housing in the downtown, my understanding is that the DDA is in fact going to give money to Avalon for the building, which really isn't in the downtown district. So they're expanding their area a little bit?
Well, not necessarily expanding. When the DDA was created, there was a plan that went along with its creation. And in that plan and in subsequent actions by the DDA, there's been a recognition that that there are things that can happen outside the district that would benefit the district itself. And so there has been an allowance for funds to be spent outside the district if there is perceived to be the benefit in the district. So historically, the DDA has funded, the buses through the Go Pass.
Yes.
We've done other kinds of transit projects.
Yes.
And we have
connector, I think you
the connector.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then there has been affordable housing, and most recently the DDA has passed, I think within the last year or two, a resolution that says that we would spend our money. We take a specific amount of money every year and set it aside in a housing fund expressly for affordable housing. And we said within the last year or two that we would consider projects that were within a quarter mile of the DDA district. And we did that because for a couple of reasons. We kept getting requests, varying requests from certain distances, and we felt like we needed to have a scope for what we would consider. But we also felt that having a diversity of housing either in or near the downtown was a benefit to the downtown, to have that economic diversity, that the people living in these projects would be walking and working, shopping, possibly getting their services in the downtown, and that benefited the downtown to spend those funds there. So that's why we supported that project.
So I have a question about that, in that the city also gives, and let's focus on the Avalon project. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if the citizens are aware of actually how much is being given, because the city is giving to this project and the DDA. And so I'm wondering if there's a redundancy here, and maybe on other projects too, that both entities are giving and we're not aware.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would think about it as a redundancy. A lot of the funds that the city has to give to affordable housing, at least in the projects, I'm not deeply knowledgeable about the funding for affordable housing, but the ones that I've seen that have come through the DDA asking for support, the city funds, some of the city funds seem to come from other sources. So they're money that are coming from state or federal sources, and the city is managing those and helping apply those to the projects. So I don't necessarily know if there's a redundancy in tax dollars going to support these projects. But certainly the requests that I've seen at the DDA have been pretty transparent as to how the funding is being put together. So I think that any citizen would be able to access the information that I've seen and be able to look if they have questions.